Hi and welcome to the Geek Legion of Doom. This is a TV review and I'll be having a look at the pilot episode of the new sci-fi drama called HELIX. So this TV show is essentially centres around the Centre for Disease Control, CDC, and a small group of scientists led by a character played by Billy Campbell, who you may know from The Rocketeer. And he's one of the lead scientists in the CDC, and he's taken this group of younger scientists off to the Arctic, this research station which has had some kind of emergency involving some sort of type of contagion. And it turns out his brother is actually one of the scientists that are working in this station, and they set to investigate this sort of strange, unknown kind of virus or contagion that affected a couple of the workers there. His brother's still alive but infected, all the rest have been killed and almost liquefied. And his brother's almost turning into this kind of zombie-looking character. The company that owns this research station obviously knows more than they're letting on, and we're led to believe they're maybe trying to make some kind of biological weapons or something. So this is all given in this pilot episode, and it's very much setting up a mythology for this TV show. It looks very much on the style of the X-Files, if it were a CDC rather than FBI. More intelligent TV show, I think, than you normally get from the Sci-Fi channel, which tend to be rather schlocky. I will say this: the main issue I have with this show is that it does seem to have a little bit of cliches in there. And I'll give you an example of what I mean. Billy Campbell, who's the main scientist, he's got this female colleague basically, and of course it's his ex-wife, and they have a very strange relationship. It's very much this sort of thing. It's okay. There always has to be this colleague who is also the ex-lover, and this younger scientist, which does make a little bit of a love triangle. It's just it's a little bit cliche, and there's a few things that you got this the head of this this complex is this Japanese guy, and he's obviously being very shifty, and he's being very obviously and cliche, mysterious, and not giving the information, and deliberately being very moustache twirling, if that makes sense. But that's the only criticisms I have. They've maybe fallen into it's just a little bit, some old cliches. But apart from that, I think it sets up for a particularly interesting show where you it's very much like they say, it's very much like the X-Files, I would say, in regards to this it's going to have this conspiracy and shady things that are going on. I would imagine as the show progresses, you'll see more things unfold. I think there's actually been 3 episodes aired. I've only actually watched the first one at the moment, so obviously I'm only reviewing that particular episode. So I've not seen the other 2 yet. So this is only based on that one episode. For me, it's certainly a show I think I'll continue watching. It's got a good hook. It has a creepy vibe to it. There's a couple of shots which are quite that's quite freaky. So if you if you're a horror fan, maybe I think you maybe get a kick out of this one. It does have a horror vibe to it. There's a scene where he's trying to find his brother who's just escaped from his quarantine, and he's got into these air ducts, and you see things moving behind and stuff like that. There's also quite a fun scene with these CGI monkeys. But anyway, overall I thought it was pretty strong. Does suffer a little bit from cliches. We'll see how it goes. I really hope it doesn't go into too much of this love triangle stuff, and trying to the relationships and stuff like that. I hope it really just tries to stay the course, but we'll see. I'm gonna give it a 7.5 out of 10. I actually quite enjoyed it. I'll definitely be checking out the other 2 episodes and probably watch the series as it continues. Have you seen it? What do you think of it? Leave me a comment. I'll look forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.